Hi guys. So today basically I just want to talk to you about what I've done with my A6300 with regards to power solutions. The video that comes out of this camera is absolutely brilliant. So today I won't talk about the cage and my plate because all of that can always come up into another video, and there are quite a lot of videos on there. I will tell you what the cage is. It is a Endure. It is the same quality as what the S-Gamut cage is at a fraction of the price. Same metal construction, and I got this one purely just as an experiment to try and see what it was all about and whether me paying £20 for a cage would be a make or break decision for my camera. And basically, since I got it, I think I've only taken the camera out of the cage twice. The first time to clean it, the second time, and I needed keeping the camera in my pocket because one of the reasons why I got this camera was because of how pocketable this is. It's a crop sensor camera. Of course, you've got the aspects that come from there, less light coming through the lens, a longer focal range, but it is absolutely workable, with the beautiful thing knowing that the camera does not crop the sensor when shooting video. You actually get the fullness of the sensor, especially when you're shooting in 4K, where it's actually taking a 6K image and actually compressing it down to a 4K image, which basically tells you about the amount of density of detail that produces. And you find, in as much as you've got a lot of complaints online that overheating, the battery life, all of those things, these are things that people deal with all sorts of other cameras. The Blackmagic pocket camera, the battery on that one probably lasts you like 15 minutes, which is way less than what this would give you. On a digital SLR, when you're shooting in video, again, you're getting about an hour's worth of video, which is the same as what this is giving you. That's just to bring into perspective that the complaints, though they are founded, they are complaints that you would still have in any other format of camera that you're shooting with. The best ratings for battery life, if that is what you want with a good image, is going the GH4, GH5 route, because the battery, the efficiency on those cameras is really good. So back to the power source. Basically, I picked up this little power brick, and basically it's a 52,000 milliamp hour battery, and it inputs 5 volts 1 amp and it outputs 5 volts 1 amp as well. The output is a little bit low if you're going to be working directly with this camera, but it also works as an advantage on that, because that means it doesn't drain out as quickly as well. And the beauty about how I love how Sony has implemented the power structure of this camera is that when you plug in the micro USB cable onto the camera and you plug in any power source to the camera, it does not stop the camera from using the battery that you have put into the body. So for instance, if I shoot church sermons, and that can be like a 3-hour service straight using the same camera, and with this camera I do that every Sunday and I don't have a problem with it. It has not overheated for me. There are different little tricks that you can do, which for me I don't have a problem with. For one, keep in mind the pros that come with the camera and use those to outweigh the negatives that comes with the camera. So you've got the battery issue, which is a problem, and the battery runs out, but you've got the positive where it can record video and receive power at the same time, which that camera doesn't, the A7ii. That's really the only one of the new era of cameras from Sony which doesn't power during video. So with this camera, basically, when you have the power plugged in, it draws a current towards both the camera and the battery. So what you actually end up getting is, if you put in a battery which is got 100% power on it, normally without any extra power it will last you an hour. Up here, an hour of shooting straight through with a battery which is in good state, good condition. It will run you an hour 10 minutes, an hour 15 minutes. It really depends on whether you got your screen on sunlight, high brightness, whether you've got your airport mode on or off, you've got other things like autofocus running. So all of the functionality that you're putting into shooting your video, auto ISO, all of those things that require work to be done by your processor and by your camera, all of those things will equate to more power usage from your battery. But one experience that I have seen is it will not go below 45 minutes with regards to a fully charged battery running video, and I'm talking 4K XAVCS with dual recording, where it's recording 50 megabit video in XAVCS HD and 720p MP4 video as well at the same time, with everything on auto. So for me, I don't have a problem with that aspect. So you just have to know, okay, 45 minutes, swap over the battery. Which brings another solution to another problem, which is the overheating. If you are going to be changing the battery anyway after 45 minutes, change change the timing of when you change your battery. Bring it down to 30 minutes. You know that the camera is only going to record for 30 minutes anyway. You know your battery is going to be running out between 45 minutes to an hour anyway, and you know the camera is likely to overheat. So keep a battery at room temperature, preferably cool to the touch, but a reasonable temperature, because you don't want your battery freezing, because if your battery is freezing, you're depreciating the efficiency of your battery anyway. Basically what I tend to do is, when I shoot, if I'm on a tripod, I'll put the battery on the floor, because the floor is, if it's going to be hardwood flooring or concrete flooring, that means it's going to dissipate any excess heat from there. If you put it in your pocket, it's going to take your body heat and actually warm up the battery. So when you change the battery on the camera, what you're essentially doing is you're buying yourself an extra 10-15 minutes of video, because it's going to take the heat which has been built up in the camera, dissipate it towards the battery, because remember the battery is going inside the camera, so that means it's actually going to retract heat from within, as opposed to what the cage does, acting as a heat sink, because this heat sink is working on the outside but the battery is working on the inside. Whether this helps or not, you put your display out. I tend to pop up the flash as well. That's just another extra bit of pocket which will not be retaining any extra heat. I open the battery door. It's quite a small gap between the battery door and the battery, so that part, I don't think it makes much of a difference anyway. I avoid holding the camera with my hand. I'll try and use the cage or put a handle on the cage, so I don't actually have to be transferring my body heat to the camera, therefore insulating the camera's heating problem which is building up on there. So those are different little tips that you can do. So now you've got your 30-minute recording limit and you've got your battery running out. You swap that over, you put in a brand new battery, you've just refreshed the battery, you've turned off your camera by stopping it for the 30-minute cutoff anyway, and you're restarting that, but you're restarting it with a fresh battery and a cooler camera. So every time you switch the camera off, even for 5 minutes, the system refreshes and buys you a few more minutes. It kind of regenerates. I don't know what word I can use to explain that, but that's kind of what it does. So that's one little tip. Basically, when you put in your power brick and connect it to your camera, the power brick is not drawing all of its 100% power, because the camera is using both the power brick and the battery in there. But this is one thing that I discovered. I didn't realize that was going to be the case. But when I start shooting my 3-hour session, I put the battery in and I plug in the power, and then I switch on the camera and start recording. So because it does not have any digital signal that is transmitting, your camera won't go into USB mode. It will keep whatever video mode or whatever you got on your display and keep on running. But you will notice on your battery it will take away the percentage and put in a power plug symbol on there. And when it's got that little power plug symbol, that means it's drawing power from here more than it's drawing from your battery. Your battery will still dissipate in power. So after the 3-hour session, when I check my battery, it's not 100%, but it's now down to about 75%, 50%, which means the dissipation from the battery is less. Therefore, the battery is not being overworked, and by it not being overworked, that means the likelihood of it warming up is also minimized. So now I'm then getting the extra advantage of having my camera not heat up as quickly, purely because I added that. And I'm not having to worry about all my battery running out because I've added that. This is a 5200 milliamp hour battery. This can run you 4 hours straight without the need of changing a battery or changing that. Now what I did was I bought a selfie stick from a pound shop. You can find those literally everywhere. You can buy it online if you want, eBay, Amazon, because you're making it to destroy it. And then I'll put up a little picture just to show you what it is. And basically I broke it apart because it's got a 1/4 neck female thread on there, and then I put some strong gaffer tape, quite strong, thick gaffer tape around the battery, just in case I need to use this power bank for something else later on in the future. I didn't want to be destructive to the power bank. So by putting the tape there, that meant I put a protective layer around my power bank. And then I stuck a little metal sheet. If you notice, whenever you buy a CD from the shop, it's got that security disc which is always stuck on the piece of paper. Because that is, it's made of metal, I took that and I put that first and stuck that just a small little bit where the hole for the 1/4 threaded hole is, just at the bottom of that. So whenever I'm screwing anything into this, it's not going to dig into the power bank, because as you keep turning, the threads are metal, which is what I liked about it. But by putting that little metal shield first, that means it's going to hit into that little shield and it cannot go any further anyway. So that's what I did, and then I put it all in together. And now on my cage I've got a simple 3/8 thread to 1/4 thread. It's just male to male. So now when I've mounted my camera onto the tripod, I just take my power bank and I put it on there, and then that's snug. That's not going anywhere. I can actually use this as a handle, and because I'm using this as a handle, it's actually left a gap between my hand and the camera. And then what I just then do is I plug in my power bank on there and I plug that into my camera. So now I've got my battery solution for 4 hours straight. I can shoot all day with that, and the only thing that I change when my power is running out is I switch my battery, put in a cool battery. That buys me some more cool running time, and I carry on shooting. So with this power bank, I've actually not ever ran out. I'm actually going to try this out for the first time for a full day wedding. But I always carry a backup. Get a really long cable, I put it in my pocket, and I run tethered, powering my battery. So the idea of using a little dummy battery connected to the device, there's only one advantage that I find to that solution. It's just that I have an extra micro USB port on the side. And really, that's the only advantage I see to those little dummy batteries. If the battery pack finishes in power, I've got 80% to 90% on my battery inside anyway, so I'm not going to have to stop shooting. All I do is unplug that and keep on shooting. So I just thought I'll just share that with you. I picked this up for like £5. It's a Kodak battery. They range from £4 all the way up to £15. I bought it in the supermarket. And when I actually bought this, I didn't buy it for this solution. I actually bought it because the battery of my phone had run out, and I needed some power quite urgently. So that's when I picked that up while I was on the road. Yeah, that's just my video for today. So if you like the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll make an effort to get more videos out. I've always had in mind to do more videos like this, especially with regards to kit reviews of everything, but there's so many of them out there, and sometimes you just feel, what's the point, because everybody else is doing it. And there's some really good ones. I've learned a lot myself from that. I could name a few channels which I've learned from. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me this afternoon, and look forward to seeing you on another video.